Hi, it is Isabel back with the Artist's Way week 8. I know it's been a while. I know it's been a few months. I don't care. I've actually recorded this video so many times because I don't know. Because I'm a perfectionist. It's not even that. It's not, I don't know. I psych myself out so much. It's kind of insane and pathetic and just ridiculous. I get in my own head and like, it's not good enough. It's not good enough. Nobody's going to like it. But week 8, I'll tell you what it's about. It's recovering a sense of strength. So let me read to you the little intro to survival. One of the most difficult tasks an artist must face is a primal one: artistic survival. All artists must learn the art of surviving loss of hope, loss of face, loss of money, loss of self-belief. In addition to our many gains, we inevitably suffer these losses in an artistic career. They're the hazards of the road, and in many ways, it's signposts. Artistic losses can be turned into artistic gains and strengths, but not in the isolation of the artist's brain. As mental health experts are quick to point out, in order to move through loss and beyond it, we must acknowledge it and share it. Because artistic losses are seldomly openly acknowledged or mourned, they become artistic scar tissue that blocks artistic growth. Deemed too painful, too silly, and too humiliating to share, and so to heal, they become, instead, secret losses. Yeah, this is a really shitty week, but if I do say so myself. And essentially what it's about is, the first page is advanced, but this week actually made me cry a little bit. I think I've said that in previous weeks, but how our previous experiences are moments of stepping out in faith or being like, I'm going to trust the process. I'm going to do something different. I'm going to work hard for this. I'm going to show people or show myself I can do it. And when we were met with what we perceived as failure, right? How we then begin to make every decision after that, rooted in failure, rooted in our loss, rooted in our missteps. And so we essentially almost enter into this self-fulfilling prophecy or cycle of things don't work out for me because you're so busy, you're so consumed with making choices out of that hurt spot that you begin to, in a way, repeat the pattern. Or what you do is you refuse to acknowledge how bad that actually hurt you. And you're like, it's not even a big deal. It's not that big of a deal. It's not a big deal. It's nothing. I'm not disappointed. And it kind of rots you from the inside out. Because again, you're now acting like a little kid that's had their feelings hurt. But instead of being like, no, this actually disappointed me. This did hurt me. It has affected me in ways that I can't even begin to imagine. You're acting like it's not even a thing. Like, no, what do you mean? What do you mean? You can't get around the obstacle because you won't even acknowledge the obstacle. You walk into it face first and then you just turn back around. You just go backwards. So it's like, and that's for me what I realize, I do that so much. What I do is I progress. And then I hit this obstacle that keeps on coming up for me. And then what I do is instead of going, oh, I must acknowledge this and be like, oh, to move around it, I have to first acknowledge that there's the obstacle, right? I can't just run into it and be like, oh, I can't get through. I have to acknowledge it and then go, so how do I get around it? I can pretend it's not there all I want and walk face first into the wall 16 times. That doesn't mean there's a wall that's not there. It means I'm refusing to acknowledge the wall that's in front of me, and I walk 16 times into it face first. And I'm like, oh, wow, that's weird. Shit's not working. I wonder why. And then, I circled some spots. I like, but let me see. Sorry, all my pages are sticking together. What is going on? I've had a long day too. I'm so tired. I think I'm about to be, and by about to be, I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it a little bit more. And then, she talks about too, one of my favorite things is, okay, yeah. This is also in week 8. It's age and time, product and process. Question: do you know how old I'll be by the time I learn to play piano? The answer: the same age you will be if you don't. I'm too old for that, ranks with I don't have money for it. As a great block lie we use to prevent further exploration, I'm too old is something we tell ourselves to save ourselves from the emotional cost of the ego deflation involved in being a beginner. So, that was really good because I think a lot of our fear, and I'll speak for myself, a lot of my fear is also rooted in fear of rejection, fear of failure, fear of, I guess you don't want to be embarrassed. You don't want to be like, well, I tried something new and nobody believes in it. And that's because she's like, well, yeah, that's also your ego. It's also your ego keeping you from being a beginner because You don't get to have the fruits of something without being a beginner first. And then this week, she also talks about, it's vastly more interesting to say, I am writing a screenplay than it is to say, I have written a screenplay. She's like, the actual, like, nourishment to your soul, the nourishment to your person and who you are becoming is not in having to have done something, right? It's doing something. That's what it is. It's like, you'll get the joy out of the work. You get the joy out of pushing yourself out of your comfort zone. You don't get the joy from being like, look at the accolades I did. I checked this off in a box. It's guys, no, I am currently doing something out of my comfort zone, or I'm doing something that supports my creative desires and endeavors. And that is what's actually nourishing. That's what's making me a better artist, a better writer, a better musician, a better insert whatever here. And I don't know, I just really love that. And what's this? Let's see. This one is interesting too, because it's the inverse of I'm too old for this. And she goes, now let's look at the other side. I'll let myself try it when I'm retired. This is an interesting side trip on the same ego-saving track. As a culture, we glorify youth and allow our youth the freedom to experiment. We disparage our old-timers but allow them the right to be a little bit crazy. Many Black creatives tell themselves they are too old and too young to allow themselves to pursue their dreams. That was really interesting to me too, because I find myself when I'm older, or I'm too old now. And it's basically you're saying this is the two sides of the same coin. And what it is to prolong and procrastinate and push you from being who you're meant to be. I'm too old for this, or I'll do that when I'm retired. Like that's crazy. That's crazy, right? Old and dotty, they might try it. Young and foolish, they might try it. In either scenario, being crazy is a prerequisite to creative exploration. We do not want to look crazy, and trying something like that, whatever it is, at our age, whatever it is, would look nuts. Yes, maybe. Creativity occurs in the moment. In the moment, we are timeless. We discover that as we engage in a creative recovery, I felt like a kid again. We may say after a satisfying artist date. Artist dates are one day of the week you take yourself out and you do something creative. You don't even have to spend money. You sit with yourself and you get creative. You don't have to go out. You can just sit and paint, or you can write, or you can go to the park. I've been skipping my artist dates. I'll be real with you. Okay. But I just love this one. I love this so much. See, look, here we go. We're at the part. Sorry, this one. We like to focus on having learned a skill. Learned a skill or on having made an artwork. This attention to final form ignores the fact that creativity lies not in the done, but in the doing. I am writing a screenplay is infinitely more interesting to the soul than I have written a screenplay, which pleases the ego. And that's what I started hearing that. I was like, oh my gosh, yeah. Yeah, because you know what, too? Saying something like, I am writing a screenplay, or I am writing poetry. I am writing a song. I'm producing an album. I'm doing improv classes. All of those are things that, it's actually like, when I think about it, when you say that out loud to people, they're like, okay, what about it? But it's for you. It feels good for you. No, I love to do this and I'm doing that. Versus I have written a play. I have written blah, blah, blah. I have made this album. That's other people go, oh, I can see the fruits of your labor. And that's really good, right? Let's see. I am in an acting class infinitely more interesting than I took an acting class a few years ago. In a sense, no creative act is ever finished. You can't learn to act because there is always more to learn. Arguably, you cannot even direct a film because you will always be redirecting it even years later. You will know then what you might have done and what you will do next if you keep working. This doesn't mean that the work accomplished is worthless. Far from it. It simply means that doing the work points the way to new and better work to be done. Focused on process, our creative life retains a sense of adventure. Focused on product, the same creative life can feel foolish or barren. Rather, this freaking book, I have change right there. I did a book down, I hear a bunch of change, splash room. But that was really interesting to me because, ironically, I think when I started this book, it's been a long time now. It's supposed to be like a 3-month book. It's been like 6 months. We're good. 8, I don't know. 6, 7, 8. Fine. Who cares? But I realized it's like, oh, I've done that. Even starting this book in a way, it's like, well, I want to be more creative. It's like, I want to do what I want to do, and I want to like make these. I don't know how to describe it. I was even finishing the book. I was more obsessed with the end product of finishing the book than currently working through the book. And when I was actually working through it, and I'm letting myself work through it, That's why week 8 was so good, because I'm like, oh my God, it's taking me so much time. It's ridiculous. It's taking me so much time to do this. Oh my God, blah, 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 blah. It's a 12-week course and I'm not even doing it right. And even then, I have somehow taken the actual self-discovery and exploration and hard work from the book and made it about a performance, right? I turned this into a performance-based thing, and it was never meant to be that, ever. And that was kind of hard to read and be like, oh, wow, I'm doing that, and it's making me miserable, and I don't feel creative, I don't feel fulfilled, I don't feel excited. And it's funny, because then I'm like, oh man, I thought I was getting better, I thought I was being better. And part of that too, like all this shit about like your ego, oh my God, like that's right, all this ego stuff. Oh my God, how much of my life has been absolutely ruined. And not ruined, like I hate to say that, that was pretty, that's a little intense. But how much of it has been dictated about what I think I need to do, what I'm supposed to be performing and living up to this standard as, right? It keeps you, one, you're not authentic when you're like that. And I can say that for myself, because I'm like, well, no, I have to like completely, oh God, I gotta trick myself. Well, I gotta do this. Like I'm performing for this invisible audience somewhere out there, right? Like I have these expectations on me that I've like now internalized from the culture, from the upbringing, from whatever background you come from. And like you have all these internalized expectations, and it's like you have these spectators and you don't even realize it. And so you're like, what am I even doing this for? Why am I making myself sick over things that don't matter? And I'm actually neglecting the real hard work. I'm actually neglecting being a better person, being a more calm, put together, not in the sense of when people say, oh, they're so put together. No, what I mean is like actually at peace spiritually. You are fulfilled. You are kind. Your nervous system, that's right, I'm on that stuff now. It's super regulated. I don't have a regulated nervous system. Oh my God. My nervous system should be called a nervous system, because my God, that shit is total side tangent. And that's hard. And it's so funny, because even when I put off, honestly, I think I said this in my last video. It's a quote out here, by the way, sitting in my drawer. But what was I saying? What was I saying? I'm looking at my bangs too, they're growing up. But it's really hard to deal with, to realize like, oh, you know, and I think, oh, I've intellectualized all these really good concepts and things, and like, why am I still so dedicated to the performance, to the ego side of things? And it's almost like this weird people pleasing thing as well, right? You want to prove, or I want to prove myself, I want to prove that I can do this. Like, look, I can, and like all of that is rooted in pride and ego, and it's very hollow. It's not satisfying. It's not fulfilling. And like the truth is, you don't really put out anything worthwhile when you do that. You don't. And you're subscribing to this same cultural idea of like just mindless production and consumption, versus actual fulfilling work. And that's really humbling to get to that point, right? And I think it's really easy to convince ourselves. I'm speaking for myself. It's like, well, no, I intellectually know these things. I intellectually know them. Logically, I understand them. But when it comes to like actually living it out, actually understanding that in my soul, in my being, I always say like I feel it in my bones. You know, I don't feel it in my bones, but I can understand it in my head. And that almost causes this like split, it feels like, where it's like, no, logically I understand this, but when it actually comes to acting it out and living it, it's really hard. It's hard to apply. It's hard for me to like get it in my bones. My brain, super easy, right? Super, super easy. I understand it in my brain. I won't even disagree with it in my brain. But feeling it in my bones and in my being, that's like really, really hard to do. Really hard to do, because it also requires a lot of deliberate work in unlearning and like deconstructing a lot of ideas that we grow up with. And I'll say me personally, I grew up with, which is, you know, I'm being about things looking right and like always having to work, like your worth is tied to your output and how much you work and what you can produce and this and that and blah, 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 blah. Insert all these things. There's all these expectations and blah, 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 blah. Once again, fit into the box, and that's how you're going to live and progress, and that's how you need to do it. Versus, it actually doesn't matter, the output, right? It doesn't matter about the finished product. What matters is doing the work to get to the finished product. That is where that really is. And that's where your satisfaction should come from. And that's like really hard for me to grasp, because I do care about the finished product of many things. It's why, and like even these videos are an example of me caring so much about the finished product versus just doing the work. This is satisfying. Me sitting in front of here, it makes me uncomfortable. I think it's kind of weird in a sense. Like, I don't know if I really like it, but on some level, it's really satisfying for me, because I know I'm doing something that's pushing myself out of my comfort zone, right? I'm pushing myself out of my comfort zone, and I tell myself, well, listen, you don't have an intro, you don't have, whatever, you don't have an uploading schedule, you're not doing this, you're not doing blah, blah, blah. So look, you don't actually care about the finished product, but that's like a lie I'm telling myself because I care so much about my finished product. Like, I'm not wearing makeup right now, and I'm like, oh, it's killing me. I'm like, oh, I want to wear makeup, right? I've recorded this video 4 or 5 times, right? Because I actually do care about the finished product almost in a way more than I do about just getting it done. That's hard. That's hard for me to deal with. That's hard for me to accept. And then, she also talks about in this week, just gonna do another point. Sometimes when we get those artistic scars and those artistic hurts, right? What happens is, or we build up like what we want to do. I want to do, let's say I audition for something, like I audition for a play, and instead of like getting the part, they're like, you know what, you were great, but like maybe try this. And maybe there's a new opportunity to join some, like, I don't know, local acting troupe, right? But I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that because what I really wanted, what I thought I was going to get, I didn't get. And so I actually walk away from opportunities that would get me closer to my end goal, right? And not being fluid. And that's what talks about too, like your ego and your hurt, and you're letting that run you instead of realizing that all around you there are opportunities. All around you there are things that you can do and you can partake in. And it might not look like what you originally thought. But what you originally thought that's not the end product, doesn't actually matter. What matters is taking steps to get where you want to go. Again, super basic, super logical. I'm like, well, duh. Yeah. Thanks, Julia. Everyone knows that until it's really written in front of you. And like, I have to actually come to terms with times that I have shot myself in the foot, right? That I've been like, oh, well, no, I tried this and I fell flat on my face. I'm not going to do this thing. And there's this thing over here you can offer me, but I'm not going to take it because it's not what I originally wanted and what I originally thought and what I originally worked for. But that's really not the point. And that's, again, letting your ego, letting your pride, letting your own hurt literally keep you from a life that you want to live. Your own egotistical ways and your own selfish nature are ironically cheating you out of a life that you want to live. And like, that's all. That's all. And that's really hard. And I actually beat myself up, right? Which again, not part of the artist way, right? Like, you know, it's good to come to terms with these things so we can understand, right? She also talks about artists are often addicted to almost the anxiety to think about making art and then come up with these, like, well, an artist will be like, well, you know, I want to be a painter, so I have to get all these things, and I have to go, what if, like, when I'm a world famous painter, and then, like, I have to, like, oh, God, I gotta, like, move cities, or I gotta move out of the country, because, like, what am I gonna do? It's like, we create these problems in our head, right? Almost to keep us from taking the first step. It's like, just go to the damn figure drawing class. I don't know. Go get yourself a damn pack of watercolors. And you're out here thinking like, oh my God, my life's going to change because what if I do this and what if I do that? So finally, when we get past the block of going, maybe I'm not too old, maybe I'm not too young, maybe I'm not too insert whatever here, it's going, oh God, but my life is going to be ruined if I do this. And if I'm, and it's like just this, like, almost an addiction to the anxiety and like all of that energy and anxiety is meant to be creating something. It's meant to be doing what you want to do and you know you're meant to do. But we get so psyched out. We're like, oh God, oh God, oh God. And like we channel it into worry instead of channeling it into just a tiny little bit of action. A little bit of action, a little bit of writing, a little bit of drawing, a little bit of playing guitar, a little bit of whatever that may be. We channel it into that worry and anxiety because it almost feels productive. It almost feels productive to sit and think about why you can't do the thing that feels very childish and juvenile, like going to a figure drawing class, right? Like, why would I do that? That's a waste and blah, 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 blah. But you sit and think about how you want to do it, right? Or it's like, oh, I would do it. And then suddenly you're doing chores you've never done before. Because you're like, well, I'm going to do it this morning. But, oh, no, I remembered I have to do all these things. And like, that's the point. Like, we are shooting ourselves in the foot because we're like, I'm not going to do it. I don't know. I'm rambling now. Week 8 was good. Every week's good. I'm looking at my bangs, by the way, and they're looking so silly. Not a bad way, just. But yeah, week 9 will be out, you know. Could be 6 months from now. Could be 6 days, could be 6 hours. Who knows? But yeah, I guess I have like such awkward, what am I saying? I have a fuzz in my hair. Who cares? Oh well. Yeah, but like, I guess like, and like, comment and subscribe. That's such a layered amount of like, I don't know, like, comment, and subscribe, I guess. Okay, yeah. I'll make another one soon. Bye.